to the All Around Adventure Podcast, the show where you hear amazing tales from afar and the all-important life lessons that go along with them. Here's your host, Josh Guerrero.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? It is Josh Guerrero here, and welcome to the All Around Adventure Podcast. Whether you're joining me for the first time or you've been listening to the podcast for a while now, I certainly do want to welcome you here. And as always, I want to thank you for being here today, just because I know that you're busy and you have a lot going on. And I also know that there's a lot out there on the internet these days that's trying to get your attention. But it just means so much to me that you've chosen to download and listen to this podcast. Now, if you are in fact new to this podcast and you're not entirely sure what we're all about here, this is the show where you hear amazing tales from afar and get the all-important life lessons that go along with them. Those will be stories from myself as well as the amazing guests that I welcome on this podcast. But in this episode, you just have me today, and I have another scary story to share with you all to continue on with this theme for the month of Halloween. So for this story, we are going across the ocean to York, England, a city that I once called home. Now, shortly after I moved to York, I would soon learn that it is considered to be one of the most haunted cities in all of Europe. Now, anytime I visit a new city, one of the things that I like to do is find out if there are any ghost tours there. And I'd come to find out that York had a few. So I tried a few ghost tours throughout the city. And different tours took me to different places and told me some different stories. However, there was one location in particular that each ghost tour stopped at. And it was a building that was pretty unassuming, close to York Minster, which if any of you have seen York Minster before, it is an amazing Gothic cathedral. Now this building, I had passed it several times, but didn't even think to look at it or take any notice of it. But after the story that I've heard from the ghost tour operators that were very chilling, kind of made me look at the building quite differently. Now, back in the 14th century, the Black Death was running rampant across Europe, and so many people were infected and died from the plague. Now, this particular building, at the time of the Black Death, there was just a normal family that lived there. A mother, a father, and their young daughter, who was thought to be about 6 years old. Both parents became ill and died from the disease. Now, authorities thought that maybe the young girl had also contracted the plague, but they were wrong. They ended up locking this young girl in her home with the dead bodies of her parents, where eventually the girl slowly died of starvation in one of the most agonizing ways possible. So the story goes that to this day, the ghost of the young girl can be seen in the upstairs window, banging loudly on it, crying, just hoping that someone would see her down below and help her. Now, England is an interesting place. Since it's very high latitudinal-wise, during the fall and the winter, the sun sets very early. Normally around 4:30 or 5 p.m., the sun is already set and it is completely dark out. So sometimes when I'm walking through the city at night, leaving class, because I was going there for grad school, I would walk past this building because it was on my route home. And I would stop for a minute and I would just glance up at the window and just wait, because the curiosity within me was wondering if the ghost of that young girl would appear in the window. So I would wait, and I would wait, ultimately to not really see anything at all. Now, I was kind of torn about not seeing the ghost. In one way, I was kind of disappointed, because I was really hoping to see a ghost. Because this building had kind of an infamous name, considering the story that accompanies it. Many people refer to it as the plague house. So a part of me really kind of wanted to see a ghost, to have irrefutable proof, at least within myself, that ghosts are real. I have seen so many of those ghost shows along the way. However, the only way I can fully be convinced that ghosts are real is if I saw one myself. So a part of me really did want to see the ghost of that young girl appear in the window each time that I would stop there while walking home at night. However, there was another side of me that thought to myself, do I actually truly want to see a ghost? Because if I actually did see a ghost, and I did have irrefutable proof, at least for myself, that ghosts are real, could I ever unsee something like that? How well will I be able to just simply walk home, crawl into bed, turn out the lights, and sleep soundly, knowing with what I just saw? Knowing, without a shadow of a doubt in my mind, that ghosts are real. Though I still remain curious, and now I'm seeking out other opportunities to see if I can encounter any ghosts. And I actually just recently signed up for my first ghost hunt next month. And I'm excited, but also a little bit worrisome. Let's just see what the future holds for me as I continue this search and this interest and curiosity that I have. All right, everyone, that's all I have for today's episode. I hope you enjoy it. Be on the lookout next Monday, where I feature a brand new episode with another fantastic guest who's going to help me continue this spooky theme, and I will see you all then. Thanks so much for tuning in today, and have a spooky week.
Thank you for listening to the All Around Adventure Podcast. For more information and resources, head over to allaroundadventure.com. Also, be sure to subscribe to the podcast and leave a rating and review on your favorite podcast directory. And until next time, be safe, happy travels, and always move forward.